Young ladies, listen up. I have 5 hard truths I want to share with you because I wish I had known them when I was your age.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in once again. So today we're going to be listening to women 50 plus, and they're going to be telling us some life hacks that they wish they knew when they were younger. And I don't need to tell us how important it is to listen to the older generation, as they've lived the lives that we're still figuring out. They've lived through it all, and it's only wisdom to listen and learn from their mistakes so we don't make the wrong choices. Now I'm going to let us watch, and I'll be back with my take at the end of the video.
They are a life game changer if you actually listen to them. Hard truth number 1, you don't have forever. I know that sounds like fear-mongering, but it's actually just biology. After 35, dating gets harder, your fertility rate drops off. It just is what it is. So chase your career, yes, but chase your family goals just as hard. Hard truth number 2, your orgasm is not a bonus in life. It is a blueprint. What do I mean by that? Well, when you know your own body, you stop mistaking chemistry for compatibility. Listen to that one again. Hard truth number 3, most people think that you level up your career in your 40s, and that's not true. The moves you make in your 20s and your 30s literally tease up your future. Now is the time to set goals, hustle, take that shot. And when things aren't working out, be prepared and cool with shifting gears. Sometimes that's just the universe's way of redirecting you to the path that you're supposed to be on. Hard truth number 4, track your period, your bank account, and your sleep religiously, because these 3 metrics tell you everything you need to know about your body, your future, and your burnout risks. And if you ignore them, that's at your own expense, ladies. Hard truth number 5, self-care is not sheet masks and bubble baths, it's boundaries. Saying no is not rude. What it does is it shows people that you know your worth, and it reveals the people that don't respect it.
It's okay to put yourself first. I used to believe that was selfish. I used to think that I always had to put somebody first. I had to give to them, I had to do for them, and that it wasn't a good thing for me to think about me, to pour into myself. But I have learned this. If you don't pour into yourself and you don't give to yourself and put you first, you will have absolutely no way of giving or helping anybody else. So you have to build yourself first before you can build anybody. Remember this, to build yourself first, then you'll have enough to be able to build others.
I learned that my well-being is my responsibility, not something I hand over to someone else and hope that they take care of it. I learned that what you tolerate doesn't get better. It actually becomes your standard. And this whole idea of keeping the peace, whose peace was I keeping? Certainly wasn't mine. But that doesn't work. Trying to keep the peace actually just delays the problem. Real peace comes from speaking up, not abandoning yourself just to try to avoid conflict.
3 things that I would tell my younger self if I could go back. Hi, my name is Michelle. I am 52 years old, and I believe that midlife is not just about getting older, it's about getting wiser. The first thing that I would tell myself is when people show you who they are, believe them. Not the second time, but the first time. Second thing that I would tell myself, be around people that are better than you. Not people that act better than you, but people that are where you want to be in life. Those are the people you need to hang around with. Don't take advice from people aren't living a life that you would want to live. And number 3, pay attention to how things feel. You know, like when you buy that shirt, put it on and you may like how pretty it is, but you put it on and you don't like the texture. Pay attention to how it feels. You walk into an environment and it may look pretty. Pay attention to how it feels. You're around somebody and, oh, they look so put together and they look like they have a great life. Pay attention to how you feel when you're around them. Not about an emotion, but about a gut. Pay attention.
We were told that if we find a man with money, then our life will be easy. Every man that I've ever dated and married has had money, a good amount of money. Many of the female friends that I've had the last decade or so have been married to millionaires, multimillionaires, and billionaires. They are slaves. They are trapped by the money. And yeah, you laugh and you go, oh, it's better to be trapped by money. No, it's not. Actually, no, it's not. Maybe when you're younger, maybe when you haven't gone anywhere, maybe when you haven't done anything. But when you reach this stage of life, I'm 52, and you've gone places and you've done a few things, and you're still strapped to that man that you were like, oh, he's got money. That's all he has. That's all he has. Because at the end of the day, unless he has done the same improvement that you have done, then he's just a man. And let me tell you a little something about most men, not all men, some men. If your man is not improving himself, like taking courses, doing things that keep his mind fresh, then you are now the mother to an adult human that you did not birth.
I'm 53 years old. If I could go back, here's the advice I would give to my younger self. Don't be in a rush to do the adult thing. Stay home. Work on your skills, your self-worth, your education. Invest in yourself, especially if you have supportive parents. Stay home for as long as you can, because being in a rush to go pay bills is jetto. Listen to me. When you're young, you think that you know everything. And I'm telling you, don't. Being in a rush to become an adult, to start paying bills, you will soon find out that it ain't all it is wrapped up to be. 2, know your worth. You're worthy just because you're born. You're worthy because your essence is from God. Your worth is innate. It's intrinsic. It has nothing to do with getting married, being a wife, carrying a child, or knowing how to cook and clean and how to take care of a man. That is not what being worthy is. Number 3, be financially savvy. If you work in corporate America, they offer a 401k and they're matching it. Contribute the max to your 401k. Learn about the value of great credit.
The first thing is you will not see trad wife influencers on here who are in their 40s and 50s. The biggest reason for that is because believing that a man is a financial plan or is someone who you should center your life around may seem okay at the beginning. It may give you purpose because society tells you that your proximity to a man, if you're a woman, a heterosexual woman, gives you purpose. You might even feel accepted by society, and you might not notice, for the first maybe 10 years or so of that relationship. But after a certain point in time, and like clockwork, it usually happens to women in their 40s, you start to realize that you have based your entire existence around another human being, and their entire existence is not based around you, it's based around themselves. And for some women, they realize that their entire being, their entire sense of self has been consumed and gobbled whole by another person to the point that they don't even recognize themselves. And so what tends to happen for women in their 40s and 50s is the reason why they're not influencing around that lifestyle is because it's not sustainable, especially if you want things like good mental health and well-being and happiness and joy. And so something that you will hear from divorce lawyers is a lot of those types of women tend to be in their offices. Let's talk about the idea that a man is a financial plan. They're not. Not enough history has passed between us right now and back to when women couldn't own a credit card or couldn't take a mortgage out in their own name or were considered to be financial dum-dums in comparison to men. We still have an enormous financial literacy gap between men and women. There is still social conditioning within us where we defer to men around knowing more around finances just because they're men. And so this is something we all need to be aware of. And I say this as someone who was married, who ended up in a really tricky financial situation because I didn't question my husband about his finances and he fobbed me off by saying it was all in hand. One of the biggest lessons that these women in their 40s and 50s will tell you is that it is absolutely normal, if not necessary, especially if you are financially entwined with another person, especially through marriage, if you're in a long-term partnership, if you own assets together, to know what is happening with their finances and to have transparency on that. I talk about being single and child-free, and people assume that that means I'm encouraging other women to be single and child-free or that I must be anti-marriage, and it's not that at all. The entire reason of why I talk about what I talk about is to provide women with options no matter what choices you make, to elevate storytelling so that you can see a range of identities and organize your relationships, your career, any fucking which way you want, but to realize that there are options, because for women of my age and older, we did not realize what options were available to us because social conditioning meant that we thought that there was one narrow little path that we had to walk down. It was only until we woke up
because we had lived enough life, we had made enough mistakes to know that actually we had a fuckload more options than we thought we did. In any situation, if you are not sure about a person, do not get married to them.
There's something fascinating that happens when women get to their 50s, 60s, and 70s. Many of them stop trying to impress society. They stop pretending that everything is perfect. They stop protecting expectations that never protected them. And they start telling the truth. And it's not because they are bitter or because they hate relationships or marriage, but it's because they've lived long enough to see what works and what doesn't work. Personally, I'm someone that listens to older women a lot. And if I know anything today, I owe it to the older generation. I owe it to a lot of older women, wise older women that have listened to their counsel. Now, as young people, we all know that society constantly tells us that finding a man, getting married, having children is one of the greatest achievements of adulthood. Movies reinforce this, family members reinforce this, and this has shaped our adulthood. A lot of us have grown up with this mentality. But one striking thing about what all these women are mentioning is that something changes actually when you're older, which is what we're hearing from these older women. When you get to that age, when you've lived it all and you see through the lies, they wake up one day, probably in their late 40s, late 50s, and realize that they've been serving everyone else but themselves. Their identity revolves around their children, motherhood, their family, no personality. The ambitions slowly became optional while every other person's needs became mandatory. And then the children grow up, marriage changes, or sometimes the marriage ends. And that's when most of them begin to ask themselves the heartbreaking question, who am I? That is a question that comes from putting yourself last for decades. Older women often say the best thing you can ever do for yourself is maintaining your own identity throughout every stage of your life. Keep your interests, maintain friendships, develop your own goals. Because at the end of the day, that is actually what you're going to have for yourself. Because every other person is going to leave you and have their life. All you're going to have left for you is what you've built over time for yourself. The community that you've built for yourself, the identity that you have formed outside of your family, outside of your marriage, outside of your children. Now, the financial part, of course, we know that a man is not an option. A man is not a financial plan. That's the major lesson that should be resounding in our ears. A man should not be a financial plan. If I didn't hear anything, I heard that. For generations, women were financially dependent on men because they had very few alternatives. Many women could not own property independently. Many older women were dependent on their husbands to manage all their financial decisions. And that cost them a lot, as we know from their stories. Now, although society has changed dramatically, a lot of that conditioning still lingers a lot. Many women assumed their husbands had everything under control. They never asked questions about finance. They never checked their accounts. They just left everything to their husbands, and that cost them a lot. Many divorced women have admitted that the most painful part of the divorce was actually not the divorce. It was actually discovering that they knew nothing about their financial situations, all because they left it all for their husbands to handle. So one lesson older women emphasize on is for women to be in control of their finances. Be in control of your finances. In a marriage, you don't leave all the financial decisions to your husband. You have to be properly involved in your financial decisions. You should understand your savings, your debts, your investments, your insurance, your retirement plans, your emergency funds. Love should never require financial ignorance. You should know that financial literacy is self-protection and not distrust. Another important part is the part where a lot of women get carried away with love and romance and forget that marriage is actually a legal contract. Now, a lot of young women grow up hearing that love conquers all, but older women would advise that love is important, but love alone is not enough, unfortunately. Marriage is not just romance. Marriage is a legal agreement. When you get married to a person, your finances automatically becomes connected. Your debts become connected. It's a legal agreement. Hence, your future becomes connected. And if things go wrong in the future, separating your lives can be emotionally exhausting. Not just that, but also financially expensive and legally complicated. So this is why older women would advise to not marry someone because time is running out. Do not ignore important concerns. If major problems exist before marriage, they don't just disappear when you get married. You have to pay attention to a person's character. You have to pay attention to a person's consistency and also how they handle responsibility. We have to note that chemistry is exciting, love is exciting, romance and all of that. But a person's character is what determines longevity in marriage. Now, another major lesson to point out is do not stay in a relationship because you've invested your time and energy. I believe from what we heard from the women, we know that that does not work. Many older women have admitted that a lot of them stayed in toxic marriages and situationships, unhappy marriages for years, sometimes for decades, because of their children, because of finances, or because of the fear of starting over, or because they worried they would be alone. But then something unexpected often happens. The husband leaves them. So imagine spending decades and a lot of years trying to preserve something that never was benefiting you, only for it to end regardless. So it's very important to always choose ourselves. Do not stay in situations because of society, because of what people may say, because of any person. It has to always be about you. And the last thing I want to point out is the fact that it mentioned, do not live for any person. Always live for you. I'm glad that we now have representation of older women for every type of woman. For single by choice women, there are older women that are single by choice. For child free by choice women, there are lots of older women that are representations of what life would be like when you're older. And a lot of them are happy and living their best lives. So what we should learn from that is there is not just one way to live life. There are lots of options in life. There are lots of options to choose from. So as younger women, we have a vast line of choices. Some women genuinely want to be married. Some women genuinely want to be mothers and not be married. While some women genuinely just want to be child-free by choice. So yeah, as we saw from the older women, there are lots of options and you can choose whatever works for you. And you would eventually have a fulfilled life. There is no one way to live life. So we should be grateful as young people because this generation, we have all the freedom to thrive whatever way and follow any pathway that best suits us. Previous generations before us often felt there was just one pathway to life. But that's the advantage that we have in this generation. We know that there are lots of pathways to life. So we should know that as young women, the most important thing for us is to choose to make decisions that best align with our lives, align with our values, and not because you feel pressured by society. And that's it for me. Feel free to drop whatever you think you learned or you've learned over the years from older women down below in the comment section. And on that note, we've come to the end of this video. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, share this video, and subscribe to the channel in case you're not subscribed. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Have a blessed day. From me, it's bye.